Start.
Paul Harvey once said, "Should we not be putting all our emphasis on reading, writing, and math? The Back to Basics curricula, while it has merit, ignores our most urgent void in the present system, absence of self-discipline. The arts, inspiring, indeed require self-discipline. They may be more basic to our nation's survival than the traditional credit courses. Presently, we're spending 29 times more on science than we are on arts, and the result so far is worldwide intellectual embarrassment. Budget cuts happen every year in every way, shape, and form. The arts have suffered significantly this year. For centuries, art has been a means of expression, intelligence, and entertainment in every nation. Kansas Governor Sam Brownback cut the entire Arts Commission of Kansas, the staff, board, and budget. According to the article, Kansas Governor Eliminates Arts Funding by Christopher Knight of the LA Times. I give this speech to you today, researching it thoroughly, and with passion, for something that will be my life soon, as I graduate in a few years from Kansas State University with a music education degree and a vocal performance degree, both being arts majors, one of them barely funded and the other one not funded at all. Today, I will provide you with information about the Kansas budget cuts in the arts area, several approaches to solving the problem, and the benefits of keeping arts alive in your community. I'd like to show you all some demographics about the research I've done on the Kansas budget cuts and their effects. Let's take a look. The Hayes Daily News stated that Governor Brownback signed a bill on May 28th of 2011 that we would have a $13.8 billion budget this year. Left out of that budget is $1.8 million towards the arts. So let's take a look at my chart that I got with information from the Wichita Eagle. He cut our state funding for the Arts Commission, which was $689,000, 37% of the arts budget. This would get matched by a National Endowment for the Arts, which was $710,000, 38%, and matched from Mid-America Arts Alliance, 25% of the budget at $470,000. This is a lot to lose just for cutting $689,000. Not only is funding cut at the state level, it's also cut at an educational level too. Before I went to college, I decided to check out the job market for music education. I checked the Kansas Music Educators Association website. There were 7 job openings last year for a music educator, out of probably 2,000 people that graduated from music education. Not very good numbers in my opinion. And with cutting jobs in the schools, they're also completely cutting out arts in the schools. This can hold back students that excel in those areas. They could possibly have a lower self-esteem, feeling like what they do is less important. It also leaves people that could have good jobs in that area thinking that they shouldn't do that. The Master Teacher Institute for the Arts speech by Robert DeBryan, M.S., given at a choral music camp concert during a vocal symposium I attended, states research reveals that programs that utilize the arts show that reading, writing, and math skills can be enhanced by taking art classes, not by taking more science classes. With all that being said, please allow me to introduce to you some strategies to solve the problem. There are a few ways I've come up with to solve the problem by changing it or dealing with what we've got, the people. The first thing I've come up with is a petition. My petition states that Kansas should reform its Arts Commission to match Vermont's Arts Commission, which I will further discuss. In a recent letter from Alexander Aldrich, the executive director of Vermont's Arts Program, he wrote it to Governor Brownback that Governor Brownback speaks very highly of their program. It stated that they do not solely have public funding, so that leaves Kansas as the only state that has it and the first state to do it. He stated that they get $500,000 from the state and the rest is publicly funded, so it's a split commission. He has $500,000 invested from the state, $2 million matched investment from other sources, leaving him with $2,500,000 total of investments. Now, using an in-plan economic model, they figured that they had 775% return on their investments, leaving them with $19 million returned from show tickets, dinners at restaurants, hotels, and income taxes from artists. Now, if we did this exact same thing with Kansas, we had a $689,000 investment from the state, which has now been cut, and a $1,200,000 investment from other sources, which is our national endowments. This left us with $1,889,000 total, which, if we use the exact same percentage, 775%, I projected that we would have $14,500,000 that has been cut, which is kind of short-sighted for Governor Brownback because that's a lot of money that he lost out on by cutting the Arts Commission program. Another option we have is to solve the problem with what we've got, the people. We need public funding. A reason to do this is that the arts have been a historic entertainment since the 2nd century of BC, long before other things such as Xboxes, TV, radio, and movie theaters. And a good way to do this is go to a local show at a community theater or a concert of a symphony or an opera company. A good example of community support that I've seen is in Salina, Kansas. They're constantly getting fundraising from all the people in Salina for their symphonies and their community theater, which has now raised enough money to completely rebuild and get a new stage. According to Bob Diddlebach's article, Why Businesses Are Still Giving to the Arts, published in Time magazine, many large businesses, such as car dealerships, are still giving to the arts and keeping theaters and symphonies alive that have been struggling quite lately. A last suggestion is to support arts in school too. It is just as important to make sure that the younger children in school are still getting an arts education. With the motivation of a good education, according to Ellen Winter in her article Art for Our Sake, printed in Boston Global September 2nd, 2007, it was found that art programs teach a specific set of thinking skills rarely addressed anywhere else in the curricula that are far from irrelevant to test-driven education. She also stated that due to complex thinking in art, a person who would learn remarkable mental skills, such as visual spatial abilities, reflection, self-criticism, and the willingness to experiment and learn from their mistakes. Now that you know the problems with arts cuts and some of the solutions to solving them, let's see what the benefits are. The benefits are quite obvious. By instating my petition and regaining our Arts Commission as split, just like Vermont, we could have similar projections, matching the state that Governor Brownback adores. And we still wouldn't be completely state-funded, so the budget's still saving quite a bit of money. But we could also be funded enough that we would be saving the budget from being a $500 million deficit. When publicly funding the arts, we also keep a historical artifact alive that everyone would miss, I'm sure, eventually. Visual and performing arts lead to a higher education. Students have higher test scores, according to the master teacher speech. Research confirms that we should not consider the arts an enrichment activity, but consider it an education course. The master teacher also states that students exposed to the arts continue to outperform all other students. So in a state where all of our education is based on how we do on state testing, that's probably a good thing. Supporting the arts in your community out of the kindness of your hearts is so special to millions of people that are involved in them. Your support is needed in every way. Continue the enrichment of people's lives. I have provided you with information on severe budget cuts and their atrocious effects. It is now up to you to make a difference, no matter how big or small. I encourage you to go see, shows at theaters and go to a local concert and support your community. But keep in mind, to the entire world you may just be someone, but when you help somebody out, to them you are the world.